Imagine waiting for a phone call, not just any call, but the one that could save your life. The one that says a matching organ has been found. For thousands of people, this is a daily reality. But for far too many, that call never actually comes. Today, we're going to dive into the incredible world of kidney transplantation and look at a brilliant solution that's using teamwork and some seriously smart math to change that reality and save more lives.
Let's just start with a number that sets the stakes right away: 17. That's not just a number. That's how many people in the US die every single day because they're waiting for an organ transplant. It is such a stark reminder of the huge gap between the organs that are available and the sheer number of people who desperately need one. And it's not for a lack of trying. I mean, in 2023, we saw over 46,000 transplants performed, which is a record. But as the Organ Procurement and Transplantation Network points out here, the waiting list still has over 100,000 names on it. So what's going on? What is the big roadblock that makes it so incredibly difficult to match a willing donor with someone in need?
Well, the answer usually comes down to this one critical term: incompatibility. You see, you can have a perfectly healthy donor, a friend, a family member, ready to go, ready to give a kidney. But if their blood or their tissue type doesn't match the person who needs it, that person's body will just attack and reject the new organ. It's a biological dead end. Or at least it used to be.
All right, so that brings us to our first section, the clever kidney swap. Because, if you can't change the biology, maybe you can change the system. Faced with this exact problem, doctors and mathematicians came up with a really elegant solution. Let's just walk through how this works. Okay, imagine two pairs. In pair number 1, a husband wants to donate to his wife, but he's not a match. In pair number 2, a sister wants to donate to her brother, but she's not a match either. Separately, they're just stuck. But when they join a kidney exchange program, they find out the husband is a match for the brother, and the sister is a match for the wife. So what do? They swap. The husband's kidney goes to the brother, the sister's kidney goes to the wife, and just like that, we have 2 lives saved where before there was no hope.
This idea was a total game changer. It took all these individual dead ends and turned them into this network of life-saving opportunities. It created thousands of successful transplants that were just impossible before. But, and there's always a but, as these programs got bigger, a hidden and really difficult trade-off started to show up. Which leads us right into Section 2, more versus better transplants. It turns out not all matchers are created equal. And this simple fact creates a really tough choice for doctors and hospitals. So to really get this, we need to talk about something called HLA, or Human Leukocyte antigens. The easiest way to think about these is like a unique biological lock that's on all of your cells. Now, for a new kidney to be accepted, the donor's key has to fit that lock as perfectly as possible. A basic match is good enough to get the transplant done, sure, but a high-quality HLA match, that means a much lower risk of rejection and way better long-term health for the patient.
And this sets up 2 competing goals, which the paper we're looking at here defines as 2 different models. So on one side, you have the quantity approach, and the goal is super simple: get as many people a kidney as possible using just basic compatibility. But on the other side, you've got the quality approach. This one insists on a really high HLA score for every single match. Now that gives patients a much better outcome, but because the rules are so strict, it drastically, and I mean drastically, cuts down the number of transplants that can even happen.
And that, right there, is the crucial question. Are we really stuck with this awful choice? Do we have to pick between helping more people right now or giving a smaller number of people a better shot at long-term health? For a long time, it kind of seemed like the answer was, yeah, we do.
But now we get to Section 3 and the power of teamwork. It turns out there's a new approach that suggests we don't have to choose at all, and it's all thanks to something called the Multi-Agent Kidney Exchange Program, or MKEP.
The big idea behind it is actually beautiful in its simplicity. What if, instead of each hospital just managing its own little pool of donors and patients, what if they all just agreed to work together? What if they pooled all their resources into one giant database?
And that is exactly what an MKEP is. It's a system where all these different agents, hospitals, whole regions, even countries, combine their individual waiting lists. The theory is that a bigger, more diverse pool makes it way more likely that you'll find those super rare, high-quality HLA matches for everybody in the system.
Okay, so that's the theory, but does it actually hold up in the real world? Well, in Section 4, we're going to look at the life-saving algorithm in action, and let me tell you, the results are nothing short of stunning.
Okay, so this slide shows you the problem perfectly.
The researchers ran a simulation with 4 hospitals, each working alone, each with 5 incompatible pairs. Now, if those hospitals only cared about quantity, getting kidneys in bodies, they could do a total of 8 transplants. But if they insisted on those high-quality HLA matches, that number just plummets down to only 2. So you see the choice they're stuck with, right? When they're isolated, they are trapped in that terrible trade-off we talked about. They can do 8 transplants of varying quality, or just 2 excellent ones. It's a lose-lose. But what happens when they team up?
And boom! This is the game changer. Using the exact same 20 pairs from those 4 hospitals, but now pooling them together in an MKEP, the algorithm found 18 successful transplants. And here's the kicker. All 18 of them were high-quality HLA matches. They didn't have to choose between quantity and quality anymore. They got both. They got the best of both worlds.
Let's just put that into perspective for a second. By moving from that isolated, quality-first approach to a collaborative one, they got an 800% increase in high-quality transplants. They went from helping just 2 patients to helping 18. That is 16 more lives completely transformed simply by working together and using a smarter algorithm.
So let's bring this all home in our final section, the takeaway. The evidence points to one crystal-clear conclusion. When it comes to saving lives through kidney exchanges, bigger is always, always better.
And this wasn't just some lucky fluke, by the way. The researchers ran more tests, and as this table shows, the benefit just keeps growing. As the number of pairs in the pool goes up, the number of high-quality transplants the algorithm finds just skyrockets. The more people who join in, the more everybody benefits.
So let's just recap the big points here. The need for organs is absolutely massive, and that biological problem of incompatibility, it's very real. The first kidney exchange programs were a brilliant start, but they accidentally created that painful choice between more transplants and better transplants. The breakthrough we now see comes from these multi-agent programs that prove collaboration is the key. By creating bigger pools, we found that the solution to a complex biological problem is, believe it or not, a mathematical one.
Ultimately, what this research shows us is that by breaking down the walls between hospitals and regions, and by applying these smart algorithms to bigger shared pools of data, we can fundamentally change the math of organ donation. We don't have to choose between quality and quantity. By working together, we can write a much, much better equation for saving lives.